I'm gonna keep it a buck and say that the thing that makes the sequel trilogy that George Lucas has just announced, that was his original idea, better than the one that we got is Darth Talon, which is the girl that you see on the thumbnail of this video. She is absolutely Bae material, and I would completely stand. This character is a character that George Lucas created, and it is the apprentice of Darth Maul. So essentially, recently, George Lucas has come out with what would have been his own sequel trilogy, and it sounds interesting, of course. To be honest, for me, the sequel trilogy that we got, but just with Rise of Skywalker being Duel of the Fates script, that would have been better. It's Rise of Skywalker that makes that whole trilogy just fall apart, in my opinion, and it makes a doo-doo. But this one is extremely interesting, and I kind of wanted to dive into exactly what this was and what I liked about it and what I kind of don't really like about it too much. So basically, in this trilogy that George Lucas was going to make, or this sequel, Leia would have been the main character. She would have been the chosen one because she would have been uniting the New Republic and all those systems together in a new government that wasn't as shitty as the one we saw in the sequel trilogy or the one that we see in The Mandalorian that really has no control in the universe. So she would have been the main character, which I was completely fine with. I actually loved Carrie Fisher the entire time in Star Wars. I loved her even in the sequel trilogy. I thought she was phenomenal, so that would have been perfect for me. Lucas had planned that the first trilogy was about the father, the second one was about the son, and the third one would have been about the daughter and the grandchildren, which, in my opinion, I mean, it rhymes, so I think this is fine. Honestly, I like this a lot, actually. I like Leia. I like this direction. I think this would have been great. The time period that his sequel trilogy would have been set is 5 years or so after the last episode where they destroyed the Death Star and Darth Vader died, which is essentially the same time period we got in The Mandalorian, which in my opinion would have been phenomenal to see because we love seeing it now in The Mandalorian and it is really well done there. But essentially, Luke would have created a brand new Jedi Academy, not just with a new generation of Jedi children that he would have found, but survivors from Order 66 that would have all gravitated toward him and helped him found this school, which I think is a great idea because we have seen that there are tons of different Jedi that are still alive. Ahsoka, there are other Jedi in video games that we've seen, so I definitely like this idea a lot, mainly due to the fact that I don't want Luke to be the only Master Jedi. I think that that was a huge mistake. Having other Jedi would have given us that feel of prequels and original trilogy mixed together. The main villain of the entire thing, which in my opinion is such a great idea because I love Darth Maul, would have been Darth Maul. Now, here's the thing. I also like Kylo Ren a lot. So if I had to choose a villain between Darth Maul and Kylo Ren, I would honestly have to choose Kylo Ren because I did like him as the new character. He was the best character that was in the sequel trilogy, in my opinion, had the best story arc besides the ending where it gets kind of muddled. But I think that would have been a great choice. Now, this wouldn't have worked because it's a few years after, so we wouldn't have been able to get like the exact Kylo Ren, but a brand new character similar to Kylo Ren would have also been really cool. But this is also interesting because it's Darth Maul plus his apprentice Darth Talon, who is this hot chick, which basically has the same Sith tattoos but just a completely different race, and they are controlling the criminal underworld, which is something that is set up in Clone Wars, something that we've seen in Solo, and something that I think we are going to see in Mandalorian. So they control the criminal underworld, which is a huge problem for the New Republic, and I've read some of the new books that have Leia in it, and Leia is one that actually combats all these new criminal organizations. So they're trying to take control of different quadrants of the galaxy, and the New Republic's whole mission, Leia's whole mission, is to stop them and bring order to the galaxy after the destruction of the Empire, which again is something that we've also seen in The Mandalorian. So this, in my opinion, works, having them be the villain. Of course, it's not as, you know, regal as having it be just another Death Star or having it be like another Palpatine like Snoke or whatever, but or having it be Palpatine actually, but This is a better direction in my opinion because it's fresh, it's new, and it makes sense. And the two similarities between the sequel trilogy of George Lucas and the one from Disney is that, number one, Luke still dies, which I was completely fine with, honestly. I actually really liked the way Luke passed away in The Last Jedi, and to me, honestly, The Last Jedi has aged very well in just my taste of it. And the other thing would be that there is a Rey-like Jedi, a little girl that is around 14-15 years old, and she is extremely force sensitive. She is powerful, a brand new character, but she is not the main character. And again, I liked Rey a lot. I did. I still like Rey, honestly. I think that she is a pretty decent character without much characterization. She's kind of like a one-note character. Like, she doesn't have much depth in her besides like what everybody else imposes on her, and that is the problem with that character. But if she was a side character, she could probably have her own way and her own direction that she would want to go. But again, there is another girl Jedi that is powerful. And this isn't strange because the Legends content had a powerful Jedi woman as well. So I think just powerful Jedi women are the way to go, in my opinion. And I think that's something that the sequel trilogies had in common that was actually pretty good, in my opinion. But that's basically it. Now, which one would I rather watch? Obviously George Lucas's, because there are a lot of issues with the Disney sequel trilogy that kind of destroy my enjoyment in the universe, like a lot. Specifically Rise of Skywalker, that makes no sense. And so yeah, I don't like Rise of Skywalker, and that kind of kills it for me because I did like the last two movies before that, and we really don't know what exactly it would have looked like specifically, but I can tell you that the acting probably would not have been there because it's George Lucas and he did direct the prequels that were a little stilted, and he would have been coming back from like a lot of years of not directing. So he would have also been at a disadvantage there. So I think that, yeah, the acting would have suffered greatly, and maybe even the story a little bit, if George Lucas was the one directing it. But if he gave this story to somebody else, like a director that, you know, followed it to a letter but had more experience and a passion, that would have been probably the best way to go. Ultimately, the sequel trilogy that we did get, with the added addition of Duel of Fates replacing Rise of Skywalker, in my opinion, would have been the way to go completely. And some of you guys may fight me on that, but I think that's the best way. That is the way. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Hit that like button, help us out in the algorithm. This is going to be Sunscape signing off. Take care, guys.